I don't care who we play with. I don't care who goes on after us. I don't care who goes on before us. Like when we're in there in that moment, it's like making out with somebody. It's like, you are my focus. The crowd is the focus. And like, the world could be exploding, but we are right there with you, And that sort of energy that I think the songs bring, because the songwriting is so energetic. And then we perform that, and it's like I go into this trance where I don't even know where I'm at anymore, but it's just the crowd feeding off that energy. So I think that's something that's really cool, and you can expect that from Clit-45 all the time.
This is Rob Ruckus.
Hey, this is Kate Clover.
Hey guys, it's Nick Collins here from The Effect and Better Strangers.
Hi, my name is Madeline Rose.
Hey, it's Ben McKelvey.
It's Tim Howard here from Mike and the Mechanics.
Hello, I'm Amanda Lehman.
I'm Billy Harvey.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Casey Sampson from the band Twist Stop.
Hey, it's Tony from Fastball.
Hello, everybody. My name is Isaiah Mitchell.
Hey, guys, it's Matt here from the White Lakes.
You're listening to Almost Famous Magazine.
Come join us for this interview. Check it out, Almost Famous Magazine.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to The Hang right here on Almost Famous Magazine. Thank you to everyone who subscribed, rang the bell, shared our channel, brought other people to the channel. Everything you do to help support us getting these great hangs out. We are thrilled to be covering Punk Rock Bowl 2025, the 25th anniversary coming up Memorial Day weekend. Leading up to Punk Rock Bowling, you're going to see us hang with some of the great bands that are performing that weekend. Also, if you are going to Punk Rock Bowling, first of all, if you haven't made your plans, why not? But if you are going to Punk Rock Bowling, this would be super helpful. Be on the lookout for the Punk Rock Saves Lives booth at multiple locations during the festival. They are doing amazing things for the punk rock community across the country. Plus, you may have the chance to win some great one-of-a-kind autographs from bands that are playing at Punk Rock Bowling. Now, today, I am thrilled to be hanging here with Dave and Rico of Clit-45, who are performing a club show at Backstage Bar and Billiards on Friday, May 23rd, along with Since We Were Kids, Total Massacre, Damage, and Fugitive. So get your club show tickets now because they are going fast, and I think about half of the shows have already sold out. So, guys, welcome to The Hang.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us, yeah.
Absolutely. Now, Clit-45 has been around for a while in a number of different incarnations. See, I knew I'd mispronounce something today. And I haven't drank in about 8 hours. Incarnations.
I think you need a German beer.
I think I need a little hair of the dog.
Right.
But like the band's been around since the late 90s, early 2000s. You've had some different incarnations. Why don't we give everybody the history of the band and get them up to speed on what's going on today?
Okay, I'll start with that, and then Rico, you can chime in too. So the band started in 96. Neither Rico or I are original members, but that being said, there was a singer before me named Philip, who we still are friends with. He sang for the first year. I think I joined the band in 98, maybe around there. Rico then shortly thereafter replaced one of the original guitar players, Simon. So Rico, I think you joined then, maybe right after.
Yeah, I think it was 98, I believe.
Yeah, around there. So, both of us have basically been the core of Clit-45 for a very, in all of its existence. It's an interesting story because no one really knows how the band kind of started, and there's not like an idea of how the name came about. So George, who is the drummer in Clit-45, and he's also our drummer in Before Dawn, was the person who started the band. But it's kind of an urban legend from what I've heard is that one of the guys wanted the band to be called the Clits, and then the other guy wanted it to be called the 45s. So they're just like Clit-45. Like that's how that happened. Yeah. And also it's like
that one.
Yeah.
I've heard the sex and violence one too.
Yeah.
I feel like we knew the truth at one point.
Yeah.
It's been so long. So I don't know. I always just say it's that sex and violence thing. Like
so kind of an interesting story was Rico was friends with Clit-45, before I knew Rico or anybody. And we used to hang out at a place called the Foothill in Long Beach, which the guy Alex from Alex's Bar, he used to put on matinee all ages shows on Sundays. And so we would all go there. That was just a spot we would go hang out and see, Naked Aggression, The Stitches, Final Conflict, like all these really cool bands at that time. And I remember going there by myself because I didn't really have any friends in the scene, but I remember Clit was playing, and it was the first day that I met Rico, and he was friends with them. And I remember seeing Clit-45 play, and I was like, I never want to be in a band, but if I was in a band, I would be in that band. Yeah. And then I met Rico, and the rest is history.
That's it. We're here. Yeah. It's a funny story too. The Foothill Club was an all ages. It was a bar, but they had all ages shows.
Yeah.
So we were going when we were kids. And that bar, like Johnny Cash used to play there. It was like an old like country bar that was up in Signal Hill. It was like oil area here in like out just in Long Beach, really. But Alex booked shows there, and like Alex would call up Clit-45, call my other band I was in before on the phone, and like the day of, hey, I need a band to play this day. Like Casualties are in town. Like it's their first U.S. tour or first West Coast tour. Like, hey, if you guys play today, kind of thing. And it was such a rad place. It was such a cool place for all of us to get together and be a punk show.
Very cool. Now the band started again in the late '90s, and you went till what, about 2006, and it went on hiatus.
Yeah, around that time. So we started. The band started in '96. I think in '98. '98 was when I started a record label in my parents' backyard. And then I put out, I mean, not in the backyard, but like, that would have been cool. But my parents' house, they had a garage, and then there was a room behind it. And so I built it into a room, kind of my own apartment, but I was the oldest person in the band, and I was like 18. So we would just drink 40s back there as my parents were having Bible study, inside the house. So we started that label, and it was our first record, Broken Glass EP. And I remember, I was such a young kid, and like I always tell this story that no idea how to run a label. There's no internet. There's no anything like that. And I was actually telling this story at the shows we played last weekend. And I was like, everything happened so organically back then. It was just a different time. And the way that we became friends with a lot of these bands that, we ended up being our peers and mentors and, things like that, like Defiance and Lower Class Brats and all these bands, was like, I would take our record and like write them a letter and send them a 7-inch, like, dear Lower Class Brats, my name is Dave. I think your band is really cool. We should play together. Like, kind of like that. And then the next year we just decided to go on tour. And we were just kids. None of us were old enough to buy beer, and we brought our roadie to buy us beer.
Yeah. We brought somebody that was 21.
Somehow Rico put the whole thing together and booked us a tour. We went up the West Coast, all the way out to the East Coast, and like, without any internet, anything like that, just calling people. And Rico did the whole thing. Yeah. It was pretty amazing when you think about it now.
I'm curious.
There was a lot of like back of Maximum Rock and Roll had like phone numbers, and then like I remember George from the Casualties like sending me some phone numbers, and it was I don't know, it was a lot, but it's like, I mean, there was no internet, or we didn't have internet to like really get a hold of people. So.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of curious for those who are watching who are younger and are just kind of was it do you think back then, because of the way that we didn't have the internet and you had to reach out and build more human relationships as opposed to like now sometimes like these clubs, you just have to fill out a form and hope they get back in touch with you. And there's no really, do you feel it was like easier or harder then or harder now?
I think it's just different, and honestly, I was actually thinking about this today, was that one of the reasons, why I think the street punk scene at that time, which is what we called it, was so cool, was because we only had each other. You know what I mean? So it's like the Casualties come to town. We're the only other band that they know. Defiance, like when we met those guys, that was like us meeting the Stones. You know what I mean? And like, but we only have each other. So that's just like, we kind of lean on each other that way. And it just grew that way. So now it's a little bit different because everybody has access to each other. And like, sometimes that communication could get a little bit, it's filtered, more than it could be. And that's cool because, like I, for example, people that are fans of the band and, they Instagram message me and like, hey man, you guys are great. And we just talk about how good Man City is. You know what I mean? Like if I could talk to George Casualty, when I was 18 like that, I would be stoked. You know what I mean? Because I only saw him once a year. So it's different. But I think it was a special time in the world, that I really, I think fondly of it.
Yeah. It was a special time.
Well, do you think that that's why punk, more than many other genres, still kind of sticks to that DIY ethos? Because it's kind of ingrained in punk. What do you think, Rico?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, I hope it's still there. You know what I mean? I just feel like we all had that mentality of growing up and having that sense of like friendship. Like we just had friends. We made friends everywhere. Like all our favorite bands just became our friends. And there was no, once we got past that, like, idea like, oh my God, I'm hanging out with Mike from Defiance or something, then it became like, oh, we're at Mike Defiance's house. I'm 18 and he's telling me that like I have to listen to A-side of Partisan's second record. It's the best record ever. And it's like, like I'm just sitting at his house, like we're on our first tour. I'm 18 years old. This is the greatest thing ever. And then now, text Mike, hey, what's up, dude? We're buds. And it's just like that aspect of it it's forever be ingrained in my heart. And like my friends that I have forever. I mean, that was the one thing great about punk rock bowling. It became a family reunion when we stopped touring. It's just I got to see everybody that like, we'd meet at the bar, at 3 a.m. But it was just great because it's like this family, the Nugget bar, and like but it became a family. We became really close, and it's just it's something that is special, is super special. And I don't think a lot of people outside the punk world ever really understand.
That's true.
It's just an amazing thing.
Nice, yeah, no, absolutely, and we'll get to punk rock in a minute, but you're absolutely right. It is a reunion. My last year was my first year, and what I saw just blew me away. We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute. You guys,
sure.
So you went through. You went on hiatus in 2006, and then about 4 years later or so, you kind of got back together. I think there were some different people in the band, and for about another 10 years, something was going on. I mean, these starts and stops, and now you're back again. So what got you to, was it 2019, and was it the pandemic that kind of cut things out and stopped things, or did you guys just say enough for now? Tell the story of like that on and on off again.
Well, to be completely honest with you, Clit-45 has always been a tumultuous band. It's just we are. I mean, like I'm going to be straight, and everybody knows that we're problematic. Like that's just how it is. You know what I mean? There's a lot of partying going on and everything else you can imagine, but we live that life at that time. So as in any band or people that live that lifestyle, you crash and burn at some point, So, with that being said, like, man, we've had like half the punk scene in our band at some point, but it's always been like me, Rico, Mike O'Brien, who's, started the band, and the guitar player, and our buddy Rufio, who plays bass. And that's been the core, for a long time.
Wow.
But, I think as time progresses, and I think with this run that we're having right now, I just see there's a lot of reasons why I think Rico and I wanted to put this back together. And part of it was not really so much that we feel like, we have this thing to prove, right, Rico? We were just like, why don't we? Why don't we have fun? With it.
That was the ultimate thing. It's like we want to have fun. We want this iteration to be fun. Like we don't want any chaos. We don't want any drama. It's just, man, I can't tell you.
Little bit of chaos.
A little bit, yeah. Well,
otherwise, it's not Clit-45.
Yeah, exactly. We have to have a little chaos.
You can ask Peter Parker about that one.
Yeah.
We'll get to Peter Parker later.
Peter Parker.
So making a decision to do it for fun and take the drama out, was that a big release valve for you guys to be able to just, change the whole entire kind of mood and tenor of the band?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was just fun. It's just, I mean, for me personally, there was no headache. I didn't feel like I had anybody, on my ass about whatever, it was just like, we showed up, we did what we had to do, and we had fun, and we've been having fun.
Yeah. And
I feel like it's the first time around that's been like that, really.
Yeah.
I mean, Dave and I always have fun, but,
Yeah. I think that's Rico and I, he's not even my brother. He's more than a brother. If you can have more than a brother, that's what Rico is to me. But we've talked about it for years, for a long, at least the past 3-4 years, right? About doing it again and doing it on our own terms. And we're just always we have other bands that we're in, and we're just kind of focusing on that. And then, this time around, it's like, I kind of look at it as like, I feel really lucky, personally, because you don't get a second chance, like it's not normal. Bands don't do that. You get your run and then it's over. And I know that, and I've seen that, and I've lived that. And this time when we talked about doing it again, and with the members that we got, in the band, and I was just like, this just seems like it's going to work. And if we have one more chance, then we're going to fucking do it, And I think we did that. And I think that's what we're going to continue to do.
So you're on that one more chance right now. How about, it's been a while since you guys released anything. What's on the horizon as far as, any new EPs, new records? I mean, the business itself has changed since I think the last time you released. So what are your recording plans?
Well,
go ahead, Rico.
I mean, we're not really planning on recording anything new at this point. I mean, I think it would be kind of neat, but I don't know if that's really on the horizon at this point. But we are in talks of re-releasing some stuff, possibly like a European singles collection, and maybe re-releasing some of the records. But we're trying. We've been talking about it, so it's in the atmosphere, But we're go ahead, Dave.
Oh, I think kind of the whole situation and the plan with Clit is, like we really just wanted to, get in the room together, and we like I said, like half the scene's been in the band, and I want to give a shout out to the guys that are playing in the band now. And me and Rico were like, well, who the fuck are we going to get to play bass? Like, we don't. And like I asked everybody, like
it's weird,
punk or like whatever they got to do. And I was watching.
We went through the list.
Yeah, and some kids sent me a video of us playing at some show, at Allen Theater in LA 20 years ago, and I was like, who is that dude playing bass? I was like, oh, Ron Martinez used to be in our band. So Ron is like a living legend, like sings in Final Conflict, played in Clit-45, was our producer, also our tour manager,
our manager,
and he plays in the lower class brass now. So I call Rico. It's like Sunday. We're like, because the promoter's like, I need to know the lineup. And I was like, oh man. So I call Rico. I remember I was sitting in front of a CVS drinking a sugar-free Coke. I'm like, what are we gonna do? I was like, what about Ron? What about Ron? He's like, oh right, Ron. So I was like, cool. And then so Ron agreed to do it, and then the other guy in the band, his name is Kevin, and he's in a band called the Starving Wolves, from out of Austin, Texas. Really great band. And we wanted people that were connected to the Clit, like from back in the day. And so I was like, we always kind of talked about Kevin joining the band, and he wanted to do it. And I was like, well, maybe I was like, well, I love Kevin. Like, so here's the story. So we played a show in San Diego, and this is probably, I'm gonna say 2003, around there. And I get there, and Kevin's there, and I met him. He's says, hey man, I don't have any friends. Like, I don't know. I love your band. I was like, oh, that's cool, man. Like, hang out with me. He's like, also, like, I'm on ecstasy. I was like, okay, cool, dude. So here's what you do. When we go on stage, you sit next to the bass amp the whole time, and you're gonna trip your fucking balls. He's like, we're playing, and I turn around, and he's like, whoa. It's like, yes, this kid rules. So he ended up, being a part of the band. But that, all of that being said, like, it's just been a really breath of fresh air for us to get together and play these songs. And for me personally, I think Rico, you could relate to this too. Like, with a lot of bands, and I think especially for us, it's not really so much sometimes about the members of the band. It's almost just about the crowd, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we feed off that crowd. It's huge. But this run's been fun though.
Yeah. So I think what we have planned is we're going to be playing, kind of regionally, one show on the East Coast. Punk rock bowling is going to be a big one for us, and then maybe some plans to go to Canada tentatively in the fall, and then finally get into Europe. We never were able to do that, and then as we talked about the singles collection, so see how that all goes. Lots of exciting things.
Yeah, so there are plans beyond punk rock. Now, this is not the first time you guys played punk rock bowling. I think it was 2015 was the last time you guys played. What was that experience like, and what are some great stories that you have from playing punk rock in 2015?
Do you remember, Dave?
Do I remember? Yeah. I mean, as much as I
can. It was fun. I mean, it was great to get back in that kind of platform, that atmosphere with the band. Because I think before that we played in Portland. I think that was it, right? That was the only show, and that was in 2010. And so it was just
that was a little chaotic, yeah.
Yeah, it was very chaotic. We played at East End in Portland in like a basement, and it was like with the riffs and like it was just like it was awesome, but it was just like different, totally different. So to be on a bigger stage and have that sort of vibe back again was very cool. It's very cool to be back in that sort of arena. And it was exciting, and it was just, again, like it's one of those things where I wished anyways we could have done more, but then as the years went, we continued on. But that first punk rock bowling that we played was great. It felt so good to be back, and they still spelled our name weird on the marquee. After all these years, I think there was a little asterisk where like the I would be.
That's right. Yeah.
Never gets old. Never gets old.
Punk rock bowling, come on.
Yeah, man. Punk rock bowling can't put Clit on the marquee.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens this year.
So you had an asterisk year.
Yep. That's it. Yeah. So we'll see if we have it this year too. But it was fun. We just it was a good time. I mean, I always love punk rock bowling. I feel like we play a lot. Dave and I play a lot. I play a lot. So it's always a good time.
Yeah, I think that show carried a lot of weight because, we're a BIO band, right? So, I remember when we had when Self-Hate Crimes, when we recorded it, we had we had Epitaph and Hellcat and BYO all wanted to put this record out. And I remember we were talking, we're LA kids. Like, I grew up with the Stearns. I've known them before I was even in Clit-45, Funny story. Remember, we played with them at Chain Reaction one time. It was the first time we played with them. And I walk up and I see Sean Stern. And I'm like, hey, man, what's up? He's like, oh, hey, what's up? Good to see you, Dave. I was like, yeah. I was like, my band's playing tonight. He's like, you're in a band? I was like, yeah. Anyways, but, it was such like for me, as like a personal honor being on that label, because I grew up listening to Youth Brigade and Soul Distortion, Another State of Mind, like watching that a million times over and over and over, and be like, I remember seeing that film and be like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to be that. I'm going to go on tour. I'm going to be in a punk band. And they're kind of mentors to us all, So when we got back in 2015, we hadn't played, it had been 10 years almost since we really did a show. And there's a lot of pressure, on our shoulders at that point. You're playing a BYO band, playing punk rock bowling that hasn't played in 10 years. So there's a lot of eyes on you. And I just remember getting up there and we ripped it like to shreds. And I remember walking off there and Jamie Stern was in the backstage, and I remember walking back there and I'm just like exhausted, and he just does this like slow clap. I was like, yes. So it was really special. Yeah.
We brought it that night. For sure. I remember that. It was pretty awesome.
Well, I mean, you brought it that night. What can people expect from this year's show? What's changed since then?
Well, we bring it every night pretty much.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was just that night. No, we've been bringing it. I mean, we played 2 shows this last weekend in LA. We played LA Punk Invasion, and we played the Aftermath show at the Regent, and both shows were incredible. I mean, they were just. I mean, you want to talk about? I looked at a video the other day, and I got a big ass smile on my face, like pretty much the whole time we're playing. It was just like, it was great. The crowds were awesome. I mean, Peter Parker was all over the place, but I mean, it was
we'll
it
get
was
to
great.
Peter Parker.
We'll tell you about Peter Parker in a second, but it was just fun, you know. And it's just like it's always been, not always, but for the most part, Clit-45 has always been that band that just brings it. You know, we don't do anything half-assed. You know, we're on stage. It's like we don't want to make asses of ourselves, embarrass ourselves. So we've always performed like, you know, to 110%. You know, but we've always just been there. So I don't ever think anything less of our stage show, or stage performances. Like we bring it. I mean, there's sometimes we're stressing out, like leading up to it, like, you know, getting everything tight. But,
I don't stress out, but
you figure stress out.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we, you know, it's just something we've always had. And that's something I've always, I was doing pride of the band on, is that we were able to bring it every show. I mean, Dave and I we watched this thing on Kiss, like behind the music thing a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like when we were kids, it was like, don't ever turn your back to the crowd, you know? So from then on, we just like been like facing the crowd, like, let's bring it. You know, you play like this your last show ever kind of thing. And you know, it's just always been that way, and it always will be. So.
I think, you know, it's, Rico just nailed that right on, you know, the head there. And I think it's, you know, like I always have this mentality, especially with Clit-45, with all of our bands, but especially with Clit-45, is that like, I don't care who we play with. I don't care who goes on after us. I don't care who goes on before us. Like when we're in there in that moment, it's like making out with somebody. It's like, you know, you are my focus. The crowd is the focus. And like, the world could be exploding, but we are right there with you, you know? And that sort of energy that I think the songs bring, because the songwriting is so energetic, and then we perform that, and it's like I go into this trance where I don't even know where I'm at anymore, but it's just the crowd feeding off that energy. So I think that's something that's really cool, and you can expect that from Clit-45 all the time. We're always going to be there, jumping in your face, having fun, engaging the crowd, and, you know, being a little bit crazy, because that's part of the Clit. So
we're a little crazy.
Well, so how I got to ask you, because I noticed Rico keeps drinking from a mug that absolutely has a certain logo on it, and then I see what is that, Manchester behind you, Dave. Now
that's right.
There, if anything, love of a soccer team, football for those watching over the pond, can cause a lot of stress and tension amongst even the best of friends.
Mm-hmm.
So like how does that rivalry translate to your relationship in the band, or even to your fans? Right? Are your fans divided over your football teams?
I believe so.
I don't. I think most of my city supporter friends tend to stay away from Clit-45 shows because it's a little too wacky.
I mean, I have some. I have Barca.
So Rico's Barca, right? And Barca, like, they're boisterous noise, and they're like, there's like setting firecrackers everywhere, and all kinds of crazy shit. You know what I mean? We're Manchester City, so we're like classy. You know, we don't yell.
Oh yeah. Real classy.
Yell. We just win. That's it. We just win. You know, and that's it. Like, we don't got to talk too much. You know, it's cool.
You guys won House Champions League going.
Yeah, hey, come on, 1 year's back. But funny part is, one time, Rico and our other band, one of our other bands, we're in like 18 bands together. One of our other bands who played punk rock bowling last year, the Fiends, we were on our last record that we did. It was The Snake Knows Only One Way to Sliver. Like, we were recording, right? And so there's a part of the end of one of the songs, and then, like, I didn't tell Rico that I was going to do this, but I was like, Man City! Like,
on record. And then
it goes into the back. It was like, Barca!
It worked out though at the end of the record. So we got both teams.
I think for anybody heading out to your show, I think they should be wearing your jerseys, and if anything, there should be some serious football cheering going on during the show to add to the energy you're already going to bring to the stage. I think that would be super
cool. Right.
Yeah,
we need to have some Vizca Barca or some, you know, whatever Man City stuff is.
Okay, so I will personally guarantee.
Okay.
A limited edition T-shirt for anybody that shows up in a Man City kit. All right.
Okay.
What you got, Rico?
I'll personally guarantee a limited shirt for anybody that shows up in a Barca jersey. Or boisterous noise.
No merch
Boisterous
left.
noise. I know. You're like, the limited edition shirt is the invisible one, and here we go.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Show up in your kit.
There we go. So now, great. Now we got to make shirts.
And even if it's okay, like if you're in a Tottenham, I'm down with Tottenham. Just no Chelsea. That's for Perry, and no United, because then we're gonna have problems.
No.
Yeah. I might have you thrown out of the show. But that's
yeah.
Well,
you got
there you go, everybody.
Noise, Barca. Yeah, let's do it.
If you're packing for Punk Rock Bowling Weekend, make sure to bring your colors. Make sure you bring your scarves and jerseys.
Let's do it.
And go to the Clit-45 show for sure. For sure.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things that we do around here, and I know because Dave this is his second very recent appearance on the Hang. Usually we give people a year, but we like Dave, so we figured, you know what, let's get him back on.
Thank you.
And promote.
I like you.
Thank you. Promote this show. But Rico, one of the things that we do, because we believe in putting good stuff out there and really helping fans connect with bands, help bands connect with other people, and bring around that camaraderie. And one of the ways we do that is through, not that I'm a big bucket lister kind of guy. I'm just I just do shit. But like, if you had a chance to like spend one day in a studio with one other musician and be creative, who would it be, and why would you want it to be that person?
I know I've been thinking about this for a while now, and I'm kind of stuck here. I don't know. Of course, I mean, like, there's a bunch of people. The people I think of off the top of my head already passed away, so that wouldn't really work out. But I think I know this is sound kind of cheesy, but I think I'd like to hang out with Rancid in the studio and just see like their recording
that's
process.
a good one.
Because I've heard, and I've heard from them and heard interviews and stuff, and that they record like super fast. And I think it would be like interesting to see like where being in the studio with them for a day or just hanging back and writing music with them for a day to see like that whole process. I mean, but yeah, that'd be my go-to.
Cool. Now, Dave, we recently asked you this question. You've had time to kind of think about it. Did you make the right or wrong selection the first time? And then, like, have you thought of anyone else?
I made because before Dawn and Clit-45 are two totally different elements. But I did think about it again, and I think I would say two things, right? Like two things, because as a vocalist, I want to learn a lot, and I want to. I mean, Lou Reed is probably, I would say Lou Reed and Jim Carroll are my biggest influences as a songwriter. But I think if there's anybody around right now that as a singer, well, it's a two-part answer for me. It would be Ian Astbury from The Cult, because I love him and I love the way he sings. I actually met him years ago. A really funny story. When he told me to tell Dick from the Subhumans to fuck off, right, the day before we were touring with them. But and then I told Dick that Ian said that. He's like, that fucking wanker. You tell him I said to fuck off. But so Ian Astbury, I would say one, and then another band that I just really I dig, and I would like to just I've met them, but not formally. But is Fucked Up from Canada. That band is amazing, and one thing I really like about them is that the singer's got these really cool kind of hardcore vocals, but they combine so many different elements of music into this, hardcore punk rock, whether it's musically and then multiple people are singing and there's just a lot going on. And like, in my mind, it's like, wow, like, how do you do that? So I think that
it's very inspiring.
That would, to me, that I look at that, like, I'm like, wow, I want to learn how to do that, so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's two right there. Now, one of the things that we also do, Rico, again, first time here, and we think this is super cool. First and foremost, anything available from Clit-45, go out and buy it. Go out and buy some music. Buy it digitally. Don't just Spotify it. I get it. It's easy, but 0.003 cents on a stream is really not going to get these guys to Las Vegas. So, honestly, buy what's available. There may be some reissues coming up. They're talking about having some merch at Punk Rock Bowling. You guys probably have some merch you're taking on the road with you right now. So support them. Go out to the shows. Hopefully you'll make it to Punk Rock Bowling. You'll be wearing your team colors. But if not, they've got other shows coming up.
The blue,
and and you can catch them there. Buy and support the music. But with that, we also, and like Rico's sitting here having a beer. I'm drying out a little bit so I can have half a brain tonight, but very small half a brain. But like we're sitting around having beers. Rico, who are some bands, artists that kind of you enjoy listening to right now that are in your playlist? Could be for taking a walk, the gym, meditating, whatever you're listening to for music. Like, who are some, other than your favorite? Because Dave told me that you are a huge Swiftie. But she gets a lot of shout outs.
You're outed.
She gets a lot of shout outs. So who are some artists that you've been listening to that, like, if we were just having a beer, you'd be like, Scott, you got to check these out, and why?
Me? No, I was kidding. No. Right now, I've really been into La Lome. They're a band from LA, Los Angeles League of Musicians. They're like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with chicha music from Peru, like 60s. It's kind of like a psychedelic rock kind of music, but they're a band from LA that is doing a current version of chicha, and they are seeing them live. I mean, I don't really get inspired by many bands anymore, really, but like watching them play live is just like, it's a game changer. The guitar player is just amazing. They're like blowing up right now. So they're just like, we used to see them in little bars and cafes and stuff, and now they're playing like the Hollywood Bowl in a few months and stuff. So.
Awesome.
But their record, and I would say again, you were talking about listening to stuff on Spotify. Get their record if you're out there want to hear it. Get on vinyl, because it's just the record on vinyl compared to what it is on Spotify. Whatever compressions they do on Spotify it doesn't do it justice. So, but that band is, it's one of those things where it'd be like a Sunday afternoon, just drinking a beer, listening to that band, or cruising around. Like yesterday, I was driving around LA, just it was a beautiful day listening to some Lolome and just hanging out. But that's probably like my band that's like currently like on the turntable as we speak. Like I would just highly recommend that. I'm trying to think what else I've been. Of course, there's like a bunch of like been rocking Mess. Been like, I love that band Mess, and
they're a great band
and stuff. But Lolome would be my number one.
Cool. Since I've seen you last, Dave, anybody new or different you're listening to? Anything cross your way?
I'm trying to think. We talked about last time, but I always kind of go chicha. I love that we both are big fans of that type of music. I love all kinds of world music, and I'm a big fan of like classical music, and so I can't say like Beethoven because he's dead. But anyways, there's a band called Tenarwin that I really like. They're still active. They're from North Africa, and it's sort of music from the region, but they're their first band that started to do rock and roll guitar. They're amazing. I really like them. And then I'm going to go back to like some of the best bands that I've seen lately. Like Homefront is from Canada, is just amazing. When we're getting the punk scene, Long Knife is probably my favorite punk band, the band out of Portland. Yeah. And Baton Armée from Montreal. These are just what I blast when I'm just like, okay, I'm a chef, so I'm like in the kitchen, like, I gotta make this. Just got to be done in 2 hours. Like, put that on, Otherwise, I just listen to 60s French pop, like Serge Gainsbourg, and that's it.
Yeah. We got the 60s French pop on.
So, last but not least, you've mentioned Peter Parker only a half a dozen times so far.
Yeah, Peter Parker.
Peter Parker.
We would be remiss, if we ended this episode without the stories.
Oh yeah.
For those who don't know who Peter Parker is, he's got an alter ego by the name Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yeah. Wow.
We'll just get you caught up here on
you could Google it. It's cool. Whatever.
That too. Yeah.
So in true Clit-45 fashion, you always got to do something just a little bit crazy, whatever. And so the week before we played LA Punk Invasion was my birthday. And I have 2 kids. My daughter's 3 and my son is 1. And they've never seen a piñata before. So my wife was like, oh, yeah, like, you know, your daughter, like, wanted to get this piñata for you because she knows you like Spider-Man. I was like, cool. So the Spider-Man piñata has been sitting was sitting in my kitchen for like a good 5 days, at that point. So we played and we ripped it, but then like I was thinking back, I was like, man, one of the funnest shows. Well, the Clit used to like to play jokes a lot, anyways. But one of the funnest shows that we played was that Chain Reaction with the Verruchers, in like the '90s or whatever. And so we were like, "It's the Verruchers, holy shit!" So we bought a dozen donuts, and like,
crispy,
and then like had a donut fight with the crowd, and like it was so bad that the entire stage was covered in glazed donuts, and all the other bands were falling,
slipping everywhere.
Yeah.
They were so pissed. Wasn't it Final Conflict in the Verruchers?
Final Conflict in the Verruchers. And Rob was like, fuck Clit-45. I can't stand up. And the Verruchers rap was like, Clit-45 is the most fucking punk rock band in America. Who throws fucking donuts at the crowd? Anyways. So thinking that, I'm like, okay, so it was, our second show at the Regent, and it was a free show. And so, you're through Instagram, you have like, all the bands, and they're like, oh, here's Loden, here's our guest list, and oh, you guys are great, like looking forward to seeing you. I'm just like at home, I'm like, oh, fucking Spider-Man is here. Like, what am I it's gonna be sitting here, you know what I mean? Or like I could take it to the show. So I put in the group chat, I'm like, yo, so everybody's like, well, okay, like here's my guest list. What's the time? Like, are we getting beer and all these, stuff? And I'm like, hey, is it cool if I bring like a giant piñata Spider-Man to the show to throw out in the crowd while we play? And I was like, ... it's full of candy. Like, this is like major accident. The skeptics are in this chat.
Yeah.
They're like, what the fuck? And Monster Squad, our friends are like, fuck yes, please. So we only had like 2 shirts left because we sold out of everything. And so Peter Parker, Spider-Man, was our merch guy. Like, so he's like sitting at the merch table the whole time. So then we go on and we decided to walk onto the Rocky theme song for Gonna Fly Now for some reason.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man's like pogoing because someone's like holding him, like a guitar player's girlfriend is holding him over the amp. Like, that's the last I saw of Spider-Man. During the set, I'm like, dude, all I saw was his leg. I was like, what the fuck? Like, someone did it's just gone. Like, his whole torso's gone.
Yeah, at one point I looked down and this kid is wearing Spider-Man's head over his head, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, at first I'm like, what the fuck is that kid wearing? I'm like, oh my god, Spider-Man's head on his head. He's wearing it like as a mask and just like rocking out to us with this like fucking Spider-Man piñata mask. It was fucking.
Yeah.
I've actually found the video and I screenshot it.
You just see Spider-Man like flying through the air. Like, I kind of felt bad for him, but it did look like a web slinger, just like.
Yeah.
So,
all right,
Peter Parker. Maybe he'll be at Punk Rock Bowling. We don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I was gonna say, so maybe you extend the wearing your jerseys to whoever brings Peter Parker piñatas to the show, so that the entire audience can experience.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Basically, Peter Parker exploding into an infinity with candy flying everywhere.
It'll be like that meme where they're all pointing at each other.
Yeah.
This is going to be a punk rock bowling show not to be missed by people.
Yeah.
Not to be missed.
You don't want to miss that one. Yeah.
Well,
soccer jerseys, football jerseys, and Peter Parker.
Yeah, right. Soccer jerseys, Peter Parker, piñatas. It's going to be insane.
It's
but then again, it is punk rock bowling.
Anything happens at punk rock bowling.
I give it 5 minutes after this episode, the show completely sells out.
That was it. That was the key factor.
Yeah.
This may be the most.
Not you guys are a good band.
Yeah. Maybe we'll just put like little shooters of whiskey in there with the sticker bars. You know? Probably get banned, but
yeah.
Maybe Clit-45 just all dress up as Spider-Man.
Oh my God. No, I would not look
nuts.
good in a Spider-Man suit. But, yeah.
I don't think I'd look good. I don't think anybody wants to see that.
Yeah, like the blacks. No one wants to see a 40-year-old dad in a Spider-Man suit. Like, it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, maybe some people do. I don't know, but
how would I do my hair? How is like cut a hole in it?
Yeah,
we'll get one of those face painters before the show.
Yeah,
that would get like at the kids' carnival or something like that.
I got it. I have an idea. What if we make a Clit-45 themed Spider-Man T-shirt?
There we go.
And then, if you wear your kit, you get that shirt.
There you go.
That's an idea.
Okay.
I like it.
You'd be like the Bullocks.
It'll be like Spider-Man like pounding a 40. It says like, with great power comes great responsibility.
He's like got a little beer belly.
He's like smoking crack.
Crack pipe in a 40.
I see no copyright issues or trademarking issues whatsoever there. I think it's a great idea, guys. Hey, guys, this has been great. Everybody, if you're going to punk rock bowling, you got to get club show tickets to see what is going to be probably the greatest punk rock bowling club show ever. If you haven't made your plans yet, what in the hell are you waiting for? I mean, seriously, it's an amazing weekend. And then while you're there, please support Punk Rock Saves Lives. You may have seen them at other punk shows around the country, festivals and stuff. The work that Rob and Tina have done to create a safe environment for people who love punk is absolutely amazing. And like I said, we are working with them and a bunch of bands to really have an opportunity for you to win some really cool once-in-a-lifetime autographs from the people performing at Punk Rock Bowling. And I know I already talked to Dave about it, so we're definitely going to make something happen with Dave and Clit-45. So please support your band, support Punk Rock Bowling. Come out, have a great time. Guys, this has been fantastic. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Scott. It's been great. It's been fun.
Yeah,
absolutely. We'll see you in Vegas.
We'll see you there.
In Vegas, and then everybody else.
Thank you, brother.
Come back. We got more great episodes soon.
Thank you.